Greetings, travelers. Welcome to another edition of Travel Talk with Paul and Ed. I'm Ed Gates, and with me, as always, is Paul Gamber.
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
All right, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing with this? With your being shut in California? Still hanging in there?
I'm feeling great today because I'm getting some sunshine for the first time in like a week. I was telling you that we had a record-setting 6 straight days of measurable rain in Los Angeles in April, and that was crazy. I was really feeling the stir crazy. So I went out and even sat out in the sun for a while today. It was fantastic. So
That is crazy. That's a lot. We didn't get much rain at all when that system moved through. It all pretty much evaporated, but we had some great cloudy days. We did have a little bit of rain over Holy Saturday. We had a nice little rain move through here, so it was nice. Hope everybody had a great Easter, by the way, too, if you celebrate Easter.
well, it was great here. We enjoyed a nice ham lunch. I understand that ham was at more of a premium than I realized. Some people didn't get any ham because there was a run on ham, so we were thankful to have that. And we're not really obviously socializing with anyone except my mom is in a closed loop with us, as my sister called it, because she's not seeing anyone. So she's staying at her own house, but we're she's the only person that we're seeing right now other than our dog Teddy. So
Well, that's fantastic. We had it was just the three of us this time, but we did end up doing FaceTime calls with our family, and it was very nice too. But yeah, as far as ham goes, my store ran out, but that was because they were selling it for 95 cents a pound. So I don't know if it was really a supply issue as much as it was a really, really good price. People are still stockpiling items right now. Speaking of the COVID shut-in here, we're going to talk today about our bucket list locales. Both Paul and I have created a list of 5 bucket list locations, our top 5 because we're going to hit the ground running when this thing is all over, as many of you probably are as well. We want to travel. We don't realize how much you miss it until you can't do something, right?
so true.
But before we get into that, Paul's got an update for us. Paul?
Yeah, just a quick 30-second update on some of the pertinent news of the day. And this was kind of big news. It came across yesterday for Carnival Cruise Lines and today for Holland America, which means I think the others will follow suit. But both Carnival and Holland America have suspended operations through the end of June. Oh, it hurts to even say it. So if you, it's to be expected, I think. I know they extended our stay-at-home order here through mid-May. I probably fully expect it to go through the end of May at least. And I think just logistics, a lot of the cruise lines are now having to what I call mothball their ships or some of their ships, meaning that even when the time comes for them to sail again, it's going to take time to get them back up and into operation, get all the crew and the staff back. And so right now, Carnival and Holland America officially have canceled all cruises through the end of June, and I expect others to follow suit. So, of course, we'll be ready to cruise when we finally can. I know I will be. So
I'll be ready to travel when this thing's all over too.
Yeah, travel anything.
So, Paul, you got your bucket list ready?
I do. I'm ready to go.
I do too. If you guys got your bucket list too, feel free to send it in. I'd love to hear about where you want to go. What's your ultimate dream vacation when this thing is all said and done? Now, I don't know if I'll be able to go to half the places I put on my list once this is over done with. It might have to take some saving up, but I do have a list here. Actually, I compared it with my wife's list. She has one too, and I was surprised to find out 4 out of the top 5 we share.
Awesome.
We both we both differed on one location, and I'm going to start with that one. My number 5 bucket list location for me is Alaska. Now, I put Alaska on there. I've always wanted to go there and experience the frontier and see some of the beauty of that state. Now, Paul, I know you've been there. And Denali, I mean, it's a big place, but Denali's on my list. I want to see that. I definitely want to see the coast.
It's fantastic.
The coast up there and a lot of the wilderness. So that's my big draw for Alaska.
Awesome. That's a good one. That should be in everyone's top 5 if they haven't been there for sure.
Yeah.
So.
And the funny thing is, I'll throw this in as a side note. Susie's number 5 was my wife, by the way, if you don't know, was South Pacific. She'd rather go there than, and understandably so, it's warmer there.
Absolutely.
Fiji area, not necessarily Indonesia, getting in there, but mostly this is South Pacific islands, Easter Island, things like that. She's been to Hawaii, but surrounding islands.
And plus, they've got mangoes and bananas you can pick right off the trees.
They got volleyball and ping pong and a lot of crazy games. And wherever Susie goes, they'll have games.
That's right. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh my goodness! All right. My number 4 is a place that I've been dreaming about since I was a kid, and I read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I've always wanted to pine for the fjords of Norway and Scandinavia. I've always felt drawn to that area. I definitely want to see that before I die. Number 3 is a place, Paul, I know you've been to probably many, many, many times, and that is Munich area of Germany, Black Forest, central Germany, and I'm going to throw Switzerland in there too because it's close by. I'd love to see the Alps. So Central Europe, but particularly Black Forest and
Bavaria
on my list. Yeah, Bavaria for sure. Love to see the castles there and everything. It's been in my mind ever since I've seen pictures when I was a kid. So
you must do it. And Steph and I got so lucky. We went together in 2007 between Christmas and New Year's, and we drove down what they call the Romantic Road, which goes down through Bavaria, and we ended there at the border area where Neuschwanstein, the Disney castle, is. And that morning we woke up that we were going to visit. There's 2 castles there actually, and it was snowing, and it couldn't have been more perfect. So wintertime is a fun time to go. Just side note on that. So.
Yeah. So and then funny, that was like I said, Susie's on Susie's list as well, and this one was as well. Number 2 for me is Scotland. Never been to Scotland. Actually, I've never been to the British Isles. Susie's been to Britain before. Neither of us have been to Ireland and Scotland. And I could say, well, hey, if I'm going to group Switzerland and Munich and everything all together, I should be able to just call all the British Isles. No, they're England. And London is a completely separate trip than going to Scotland, which is a completely different trip than going to Ireland. And sadly, I would say Ireland's number 6 on my list compared to Scotland.
Fair enough.
I have family roots in Scotland. I like Scotch better than Irish whiskey, and I've always wanted to go to Scotland there. So that's on my list. I would say 6 and 7 are the British Isles, the rest of the British Isles for me, if I were to go down that list. But that's why I isolated Scotland in that one. But then that leaves me to my number 1, and I debated on this one. And if I had to let one go, I don't know. I really couldn't figure out what to do. But my number 1 is Australia and New Zealand. And here's the thing. All right, Australia, I've always wanted to go. I know my brother's gone there. But New Zealand really wasn't on my map until around 2001.
I bet you I know what this is.
And you know what? I'm pretty sure I could spend a week in New Zealand and then another week or longer in Australia because there's so much to do there. And I can hear you now. If you're gonna split up the British Isles, we might as well split these up. Yeah, okay. If they are, then there's 1 and 1 plus. New Zealand is my number 1, and they just move everything down if I have to do that.
That's a long flight. If you're gonna fly that far, and you know what, you're gonna see too, because this one is actually, we shared this one, and that was my thought because I had them separate too. But it's like, if you're gonna go that far, stay there 3 weeks, stay there a month if you can. Try to do it all.
I could see how that would be a long trip and how they could be 2 separate vacations. But then honestly, New Zealand is not much as far as tourism goes. There's just a lot of landscape sightseeing.
Beautiful, idyllic beauty.
Whereas Australia has more of, at least Sydney and Melbourne have more of the cultural stuff that you want to get into. And then, I mean, if you want to see all of Australia, you're gonna have to spend a lot of time there. You know, like go to Perth and the South, um, the South Sea and things
It's
like
a
that.
big, yeah, it's
It's
true.
a big thing, you know. But I tell you, specifically in Australia, places where I want to see, I do want to go on some kind of outback tour, because hello, Crocodile Dundee was a kid movie for me, and I want to see that area. I've been wanting to see it forever. But also I want to see the different sky out there. You know, it heard it's like a different world. And then, of course, we already talked about New Zealand being where Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit was filmed. And as far as I heard, the Hobbit Village is still a popular tourist attraction there. So something you got to see. All right, that's my top 5. Paul, take it
That
away.
is that is a great top 5. It's an awesome top 5. Well, I sat down yesterday or earlier this morning with Steph, and we talked through ours, and we shared a lot. So what we did was I have a top 5, but they're all worthy trips. I don't have like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Any of the top 5, like we did agree on a top 5, just in no particular order. The 6 through 10 honorable mentions, real quick, for us. The only place in Asia on the entire top 10 for us was Thailand. And the thing that it didn't reach our top 5 because Steph has a peanut allergy and she is a little bit afraid of eating something there. But anyway, another one, 2 of hers, I've been to both of these places, but Paris and some of the French countryside was in our honorable mention. London was in our honorable mention. I've been there several times. Steph has never been. I know the 4 of us the Getaway gang would love to do London. I'd love to go back. Around the world cruise. This was mine. If I had all the time and the money and I could circumnavigate the globe in, like 2 months or 3 months, and visit a bunch of different, I mean, that's sort of a broad thing, but would love to do it. And the cross Canada train trip to go, that starts in Toronto, goes all the way through the Rockies. These are our honorable mentions, and those are all great too.
I will
But
add that as far as Asian countries go, Tokyo and Japan and Okinawa are on my list, in the top 10 as well. That's the only Asian country on my radar. But
as
yeah,
now, of course, things change. I know that's a good one too. But
exactly. Thailand, though, I would love to see that as well.
well, Paul and Steph's undisputed top 5, in no particular order, is a road trip to see every national park. That is a big one for us. We've seen a fair many in the western U.S., but we are lacking some out this way, and that would be a really fun trip. I said, how about in an RV? And Steph said, let's not go that far. So
Yeah.
But we did agree upon a road trip to every national park. That was kind of our longest, biggest.
An RV would be a great way to social distance, that's for sure.
That's true. Another one on our top 5 was New Zealand as well, and specifically the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. That was a thing we really would like to see, and so I did lump that in there with New Zealand. And that was if we're going to fly that far, we would like to at least see that. Australia does really merit its own trip. I agree with that. So another one in our top 5 was the area at the bottom of South America, which included Chile, Argentina, and Patagonia. I added specifically, my part of that was if we were going to go that far, to take a voyage down to Antarctica while we were down in that part of the world. That was definitely a top 5 for me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, there's so much to see at that part of the world too. Patagonia is beautiful, and that sounds amazing. It's definitely something. It's not even on my radar, but every time I see something about it, makes me want to go even more, especially Patagonia.
And that's we'll call it Patagonia. The Antarctica thing was a side thought of mine, but we agreed on the Patagonia.
Great excursion.
So. Another place that I regret not going when I was younger, as it was at that point at least a safer area, and I probably would not go there until I felt like it was safer again. But both of us agree that Egypt is in our top 5.
Wow.
We would love to see all of the historical sites in Egypt. And our final top 5 is a very specific one, and that is Alaska. We've both been to Alaska. I've been twice. Steph's been once. But Alaska in the winter, so that we can see the northern lights in their full glory in Alaska. That is absolutely a top 5 for us.
That's awesome.
That rounds out our top 5 bucket list trips.
You know, I did want to mention that, yeah, I didn't put it on there, but Norway in the wintertime is on my radar, early spring, for the exact same reason, because I have to see the Northern Lights in my lifetime. So that's, I have two northern locations on there. One of them I would arrange to see those Northern Lights.
Yeah, you got to go, obviously, when the days are shorter. You know, there was just no chance of seeing them in Alaska in the summertime, because at least while we were there recently, especially the further north you go, there, you know, nighttime almost doesn't exist. So.
Well, Paul, that's a great list, man. And you know, it's funny you mentioned that you've been to Alaska before. On a future show, I don't know if we're going to do it next week or coming up, we're going to talk about places we've been to before that we definitely want to go back to. So we'll do another top 5 episode coming up soon with those locations.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps us up for today, April 14th. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, sure was. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in and watching our show week to week. We do this every Tuesday. It drops on our Facebook VIP group at 5:30 on Tuesdays. So if you want to join our group, if you haven't already, hop on over to Facebook. There'll be a link in this if you're watching on YouTube in the description. And then, of course, you're watching it, it'll be airing a couple days after it airs on the VIP group on our other pages. So thanks again for watching. Comment your best bucket list locations. It doesn't have to be a top 5. If you just have 1 or 2 places you absolutely have to see before you die, love to hear about it. So and everybody be safe. Have a great week, and we'll see you again next week.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.